We're talking today with Brandi from Hunt Wright Design Company, a local stationer here in the Twin Cities area. Brandi, welcome. Thanks for being here today.
Hi, Dana. Thanks for
Hi.
having me. I really appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. Why don't you take a minute and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Brandi with Hunt Wright Design Company. I specialize in custom and semi-custom wedding invitations and day of stationery.
Perfect. Yeah, I always enjoy working with you and love your stuff. So when I was trying to decide who to have do for this was easy for me.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we worked together a lot, so
Yeah.
really enjoyable. So we just have a few questions, common questions that I get asked from couples when thinking about their invitations and wedding day stationery. And so I figured, why not go right to the expert instead of listening to me answer the question.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So first of all, the most obvious one is what is the benefit of hiring someone like you, someone local, a real actual person, versus doing something, one of the many options people have of creating and designing and printing invitations online?
Sure. It's a great question. I feel that the biggest benefit is the personal connection. So when you're working with me and you hire me or another small business stationer, you are a client and we are here to care for you. We are here to guide you. I feel a lot of the online places are more so of just being a number. It's more like checking the boxes. It's like, pick this design, pick your back, fill in the info. We're here as a small business. I'm here to help you with etiquette, with personalization, making things unique. With online big box places, it's more about just sort of like a quick, let's roll through this. These are your options, A, B, or C. When you work with an individual such as myself, the benefit is the personalization. I listen to you, I hear what you want, and we conceptualize together and we come up with something very unique and very special. And I feel like that's really very important when you're investing in something like wedding invitations for your wedding.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And you even have some kind of preset ones where you say kind of semi-custom. I know you have some that are kind of already designed that people could just take turnkey and here you go, or you can adapt those as needed as well. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a smaller portion as far as the numbers that for the semi-custom packages, but the collection itself is some of my most popular designs. People really gravitate towards those. And the beauty of it is turnkey. It's not, from scratch. We're not conceptualizing, and it's not weeks of fun planning. It's more about quicker turnaround, being able to change out fonts and colors, maybe add a slight design tweak, just sort of small individual changes. But absolutely, I feel the semi-custom suite is available to people that just are looking for something unique, but also a little bit less time consuming.
Yeah, and still get that personal help. And what I always like to tell clients is, obviously at the end of the day, completing the proofreading and making sure everything is spelled correctly and says the right thing ultimately is the client's responsibility to proofread it and sign off on it. But you are human and you are looking at these things, and if you are doing somebody's escort cards and you're probably going to notice that there are 20 people assigned to table 6 and nobody assigned to table 5.
Exactly.
You're like, hey, that's probably not right. Whereas something online that you upload your spreadsheet to, the robot's not going to notice.
Absolutely. I really feel going above and beyond is by far the number one, business practice that's amazing for my clients. Is exactly like you said. I do notice those small changes. You upload me spreadsheets. I peruse them. I look through them. I help proof them for you. And yeah, I'll call it out and I'll say, did you really mean to do this? Or you want this guest, you have your guest listed as this name. This seems incorrect to me. This spelling seems funny. Is this correct? Yes or no? And it's just catches like that really make a difference, like you said, as opposed to just uploading things and then all of a sudden it's there, it's shipped to you, and there's no going back. So
yeah. Awesome, awesome. Great. Well, so let's talk about the main piece, which is typically your invitation suite. What are, in your opinion, what are kind of the must-have things, either bare minimum or the meat of the pieces of an invitation suite?
Yeah, absolutely. So the can't do withouts are the invitation itself, obviously, a details card of some sort, and an RSVP. And all of that is variable in a sense. The invitation, of course, that will be the number one. That's going to have your names, the date, the venue, the most important pieces of the invitation suite.
Mm-hmm.
And then the details can sort of be a little loose as far as structure. We can have it be directed right to the website, or we can call out specific highlights, like if you're planning a welcome party the night before, if you're doing a Sunday brunch the Sunday morning after the wedding, specific pieces like that your guests know like what to expect and what are some of the events for the day, the wedding weekend, as well as accommodations, parking, shuttle services. There's lots of ways that you can word your details card. And then finally would be the RSVP card. And RSVPs, I would honestly say 50-50 of my clients have an official RSVP where you mail back or directing them to a website.
Okay, yeah.
Or it's a very important piece because you need to know your guest count. You need to know who's coming, and then that sort of lays the groundwork for the rest of your planning. So that's an important piece.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I was going to ask how much you're seeing RSVP cards, and 50-50 sounds about what I hear as well. So that makes sense. Yeah. So when you're working with a couple, what's the best way to like insert their personality into the design, or how do you work with them, especially if they're doing something custom, so that when their guests get this invitation in the mail, they're maybe know right away, despite the, other than the return address, like, oh, this invitation makes so much sense for this couple. Like, how do you work with them to put their personalities into their invitations and their paper goods?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's actually a very good point that I like to make to my clients, is that incorporating your personalities is key. Like that, what making it you and yours and you as a couple is key. That's what makes the personal touch to it. So I feel that listening to my clients, I ask them a lot of questions, their likes, dislikes, what sort of overall vision they would like to see, incorporating the colors. So I would say listening and hearing what they have to say, and then incorporating that into the design itself. So whether that means we're using a color scheme, big and bold designs, eclectic, modern, romantic, soft, fonts play a big part into it. Do you want big scripty? Do you want calligraphy? Do you want a serif, a sans serif? There's so many factors that can make it an individual invitation that tailors to the couple.
Yeah.
And I think, using the different colors and designs, and then, to get really personal, I've seen people do, pet portraiture. I'm actually doing a few wedding crests at the moment for clients, which is really exciting. It's a really fun trend to see.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you have seen like a lot of people doing more like logos or crests and something personal to them.
Yeah, exactly. So I have, So I have done like wedding logos, and then that's amazing for the rest of your paper goods, because then you can incorporate that logo throughout, and it really like solidifies the brand. It's like this is our union, this is our logo choice that represents us, and we can use it in your day of stationery and beyond. So it's really fun things to work with.
So for those of you who've read some of my other blog posts, probably saw the blog post of the train wedding, which is definitely one of my favorites. And that is one that Brandi definitely had a huge piece in. And they had a very specific logo that you made for them. Do you want to maybe just talk a little bit about like how you use that, and then how they used it other places in their life?
Yeah, I mean, that couple had a really unique wedding venue, and so it was sort of like playing that up. So it was the train depot and taking the train ride, and then getting off and getting married at a separate ceremony site. And the reception itself was at the depot, And so we really wanted to incorporate all of that. They are a very fun couple, so they wanted sort of whimsy, not so serious, which we were able to accomplish with the logo. So I ended up doing different train themed logos with their initials, and we sort of went back and forth and whittled it down and really got a beautiful little logo that we were able to use for them. That was just super fun. We were able to use that throughout. And then I took elements from that logo, like we had used some stars and some train tracks, and then incorporated that into other pieces of the stationery to make a cohesive look. So it was fun.
And then didn't you or did they make a stamp out of it as well?
Yeah, I helped them make a stamp. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and then so they use that obviously on like some of their envelopes. They still use it. They stamp their candy bags for guests to use. So it's super fun. So I'm sure that was a really fun way for you to help incorporate their vision to
exactly. Yeah.
For that. Awesome. So which of the day of pieces? What are some of your favorite ones to design?
Well, they're all so fun. I mean, one of my favorite things to do is conceptualize with a couple, sit down, hear what sort of pieces are important to them, and then give my suggestions as well. So I feel that, the more you can solidify your brand, the more memorable it's going to be for your guests. Oh. So whether that's be a sign walking in, to programs, to menus, to escort cards, to bar signs, to napkins. I mean, really the sky's the limit, and it's all about what you would like to put forth the effort for. And so I love designing programs, wedding programs. I just think my style itself is just very structured, and wedding programs are such. So it's like just very beautifully lined up. I love sort of like that type A, like very structured looking piece with little just elements of design flair. That's a fun thing to design.
Fun. Well, and programs can, they're a big piece of information. So I'm sure it's important to have it clean, but still, match the rest of their goods and have it be fun if that is the case.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, finally, and obviously also kind of a big piece, and I'm sure a question you get a lot is, what do you say to people who have a hard time, I guess, spending money on something that's just going to get thrown away? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, good question, Dana. It's, you're investing in your wedding. You're spending a lot of money on all these individual elements that pull it all together. So I would say, of course, this is my business, but the paper goods are just as important as the flowers. It's the first element that guests will see and feel and touch, and it's a tangible piece. And if you're sending them just like a very thin invitation with like poorly laid out design and not a lot of thought put into it, then they're not going to put a lot of thought into having that piece. They might put it on the refrigerator for a little bit, but they'll put it in their calendar, and yes, they might toss it. My argument would be, the types of papers that we use. They're important. They're the texture, the weight. It's all elements that bring the feeling of luxury. Your guests are going to open it and they're going to see it's like a beautiful package. Anything from like the stamps we use to the type of addressing that we do on the envelope itself. You open up the package and it's just like this beautiful piece of design that you're gifting your guests. And so I've heard lots of parents and grandparents and godparents and aunts and uncles and your wedding party keeping your invitation for years. So let's let them keep it. Don't skimp on this and just have them throw it away.
Right. Yeah, and then like I guess in that same way, with the day of pieces, what for something like a program or something like a menu card, what are kind of the benefits of those?
Yeah, it's more about solidifying your overall brand presence and the feeling that you want your guests to have. You want them to walk into that ceremony and feel like it's a magical place. And helping with that feeling and that look is definitely like the paper goods. It's beautiful signage. And everything's matching and cohesive. It's walking into the reception and it's like, wow, what beautiful settings. Like the florist, look what the florist did. You get to your table setting and it's like, oh my gosh, how beautiful. Look at these menus. What we're having, that's right. We're having this. Oh, and look at this special treat. Like they left us a thank you note on the menu.
Yeah.
There's like lots of just special touches that make your guests feel very important, which is
yeah. Well, and it's just one more way to really personalize your day. And so, similarly with, with your ceremony or with your centerpiece or whatnot, when you want your guests to know that they are at, so and so's wedding, like you want them to know that you're at your wedding, not just wedding couple X, and this could be anybody's wedding. You want them to know that this is, we're at your day and we're celebrating you, and everything around us is because you picked it out and it fits with your personality.
Exactly, Dana. I mean, I've been married for 15 years, and I can tell you that people still talk about our wedding, just the special touches that we did, and it's just such a wonderful feeling. Years down the road, friends will be like, oh, your wedding is one of my favorite weddings, or you did this in your ceremony, and it just, made me tear up, and I'll never forget that. It's those special moments to make it very memorable.
Oh, I totally agree. I totally agree. Yes, awesome. Well, thank you, Brandi. I really appreciate your time and insight today, and I think it's a lot of good information for people who are considering their wedding day invitations or day of goods, and a lot of great things to think about. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Dana. I always love working with you. You're just so organized. I appreciate you bringing me on today.
Yeah, no problem. And look forward to working with you a bunch more.
Yeah, sounds great.
All right, thanks.